Since 1923, Walt Disney Animation has been inspiring millions with wonderful stories on the silver screen. And in July 1955, Walt Disney brought those dreams to life in Disneyland, giving guests the ability to relive those dreams, to meet the characters of their childhood. However, it's no secret that fans of Disney feel like modern Disney is slacking in what seems a never-ending showreel of remakes, concept art, blue sky ideas. Many people are saying that Disneyland feels like a shadow of its former self. But what is that former self? What made Disneyland the most magical place on Earth? And more importantly, can that magic reawaken in us? Now, there's one park that I know that gets a ton of bad press. If you search Euro Disneyland on YouTube, it will bring back hundreds of videos of its failures. So does this make Euro Disney or Disneyland Paris now any less magical? Well, no, absolutely not. And instead of focusing on its shortcomings, let's focus on what went right.
One song, I have but one song only for you. One heart tenderly beating, ever entreating, constantly true. One love that has possessed me, one love thrilling me through. One song my heart keeps singing, of one love only for you.
Before its opening in 1992, Disney Imagineers wanted to impress. Instead of building the most grand theme park, they were going to create the most beautiful theme park ever. Taking influence from Europe's rich culture, art and history, Disneyland Paris would spare no expense, hiring traditional craftspeople for things like the stained glass windows or stonemasons for the cobbled floors. Sleeping Beauty Castle would be a homage to European castles, exaggerating their fantastical nature. Having decades of experience over past projects, the designers of Euro Disney under the creative lead of Tony Baxter could push the envelope, improving or even reimagining past attractions to make them even better than ever before. Now, this is not to say that they mess with the classics. You see, for a fan of Disneyland, one ride remains sacred ground. And that is, of course, Peter Pan's Flight. Peter Pan's Flight is an example of the creative prowess and ingenuity that give the Imagineers their legendary status, being one of the first examples of a ride vehicle being a storytelling device in itself. Across Disney parks, the standby wait for Peter Pan's Flight continues to be one of the highest in Fantasyland, even across the whole park. Why is it that Peter Pan's Flight continues to draw and inspire guests? Other attractions in Fantasyland don't have this level of prestige, and despite the version of Disneyland Paris being a cloned attraction, it still carries the same level of love and excitement that the original has.
I don't remember the first time I went to Disneyland Paris, and I always remember my favourite being Peter Pan's Flight. That film was really important to me growing up. All you ever wanted to do was fly. Those special effects in that ride, for some reason, and I don't know why, they felt like magic. As you get older, you start to notice how I can see the walls now. I don't know why I could never see the walls when I was a kid, but I can see the walls now. I can see that they're fairy lights up against walls and hanging in midair. The real reason people still love it, and it's still so popular to this day, it's that Peter Pan as a story encapsulates what Disneyland is all about. The thing that is so amazing about Disneyland is that you can go there as an adult and you can have all the troubles in the world. You go to Disneyland and you can be a kid and you don't have to grow up while you're in Disneyland. The childlike innocence gets you again, and you can just enjoy yourself and appreciate wonder and dream. And Peter Pan's Flight is that distilled into its purest form. And then you get on this ship which seems to take off and fly away, and you just feel happy and you forget about the world around you just for that split moment. And at least for me, that happens throughout the whole time I'm in Disneyland Paris. But Peter Pan's Flight is it's the whole of the Disneyland experience distilled into that tiniest. It's really not a long ride. It's like 2 minutes, man. I'd be shocked if it even passed 2 or 3 minutes. This ride means a lot to me, and I hope I've done it justice at trying to explain why it's so special. So yeah, back to you.
In the world of theme parks, we're pretty used to TV shows, movies and video games as being the catalyst for an attraction. But let me tell you about an attraction that was so popular and so influential, it sparked a whole franchise. Soon after Disneyland's opening, Walt Disney and his team of Imagineers had an idea for a walk-through attraction where guests would be transported to the Pirate World's World. This groundbreaking boat ride would be a cinematic tour, populated with the most colourful characters you could ever dream up. It is, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Et maintenant, tas de fripouilles. J'ai entendu 6. Qui offre 6?
6 bouteilles de
Gardez votre homme, les gars. C'est de l'or que je veux. Qui dit mieux? Une fois? 2 fois?
This left the Imagineers of Disneyland Paris with perhaps the most difficult task, improving on what could be classed as perhaps the greatest attraction of all time. Instead of just improving what happens inside the show building, the experience for Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland Paris starts long before you step on board the attraction, starting as soon as you enter the Caribbean Plaza. You see, every detail of Pirates of the Caribbean was painstakingly researched, whether it be the style of the battle-scarred fort, down to the type of flowers inside the ride's queue. This is a fun little tidbit, but did you know that the Imagineering gardening team chose specific flowers so that there would always be at least one type of flower in bloom throughout the ride's queue, selling the effect that we are indeed in the Caribbean? Even the unpredictable Parisian weather was accounted for in a thematically fitting way. Those banners covering the queue, well, they could be for shading us against the Caribbean sun or for storm season. Another upgrade is the frankly gorgeous interior queue line, bathed in blue moonlight with candle-lit lanterns providing just enough ambient light to light our way as we travel deeper and deeper inside the fort. Finally, after travelling deep into the catacombs of the fort, the tunnels open up as we are finally welcomed to board our vessel before the truly epic journey ahead. Pirates of the Caribbean was my first experience of a Disney dark ride, and I was fortunate to ride the original version in California, and for that reason it will always be special to me, for sentimental reasons. There is no denying that Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland Paris is a worthy successor, one that surpasses the original in almost every way. The only way that it falls short, and now this is nitpicking, is when you come up over the first lift hill, there's a pirate who swings above your head. Now, every time the pirate swings, your natural inclination is just to look up, and that exposes all the behind the scenes of the suspended ceiling. That would be my only nitpick. Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland Paris and Disneyland Resort are my favourite attractions absolutely anywhere, and there isn't a time of day that I wouldn't leap at the chance to travel through the pirate worlds of old.
Rascals and scoundrels, villains and knaves, look after me, Hardy Show. We're devils and black sheep, really bad eggs, look after me, Hardy Show.
Really bad eggs.
Let me tell you a tale of love, of loss, of greed, and of power. Let me tell you the story of Thunder Mesa. And to tell this story, I'm going to need a couple of props. Bear with. Like, so done. At this point, the bars will probably animate in. Story starts in 1849 with a fella by the name of Henry Ravenswood. You see, Henry struck gold in the mighty Big Thunder Mountain, stealing the land from the native Shoshone people, exploiting the mountain for its untold riches. Word spread fast, and soon thousands of people were being attracted to this new settlement by the promise of wealth and prosperity. Funded by the new mining company, this town would be called Thunder Mesa. The gold would flow like the old rivers of old. Capitalising on his new fortune, Henry would build Ravenswood Manor, a pristine shrine to the wealth of his new town, a sanctuary for his daughter, Melanie Ravenswood. Growing up, Melanie would be free to explore the lush gardens and impressive manor with one condition: she would always be under the ever-watchful eye of her father. Her sanctuary would become her prison. The prosperity of the town was not to last. Legend has it that Big Thunder Mountain is protected by an ancient god, a god so powerful that if anyone tries to steal the riches of the mountain, the Thunderbird will flap its wings, shaking the earth, resulting in a devastating earthquake. In 1860, Thunder Mesa was struck by the wrath of this Thunderbird god. Henry Ravenswood and his wife, Martha, would perish. Finally though, free of her father, Melanie would be free to marry the man of her youth, a simple foreman from the Big Thunder Mining Company, but a love that no less had to be kept secret from her controlling father. Jake and Melanie were set to marry inside Ravenswood Manor. However, that was not to be. See, before the wedding, Jake was lured into a secret chamber where he would be hung by a noose from the rafters by an evil phantom. All other later suitors would also perish, leaving poor Melanie to roam the manor alone for the rest of her existence, tormented by this menacing phantom. The town would never be the same again. In fact, the ghostly wail of the Big Thunder Mountain mining trains can still be heard down to this day. The whole of Frontierland is like stepping into a living picture, presented in widescreen CinemaScope, with the music as Westons Pass as the soundtrack to the area. The two attractions are plussed versions of their legendary predecessors. As for having to iterate on the same attraction, Tony Baxter proudly exclaimed, "The fourth time is the charm." You see, this is one of the best examples that Disney had for telling unique and original stories for their attractions. The world is there for you to explore, to create lasting memories in this new frontier. Now, if you've been to Disneyland Resort Paris, then I'm sure you know this, but the resort is actually split into two parks. First being the absolutely stunning Disneyland Paris, with attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan's Flight, Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, the list goes on. And then the other park, Walt Disney Studios. See, at the beginning, the idea of Walt Disney Studios was to show the golden age of Hollywood, where guests would be transported into a living film studio. See, unfortunately for us, the creative team at Disneyland Paris went over budget and the original part sadly underperformed. Walt Disney Studios was made on a much more conservative budget. To put it bluntly, Disney cheaped out. And now we're left with a mess of conflicting ideas and obvious examples of corners being cut. However, there are still a few moments of that good old-fashioned Disney magic in Walt Disney Studios. The first example is the imposing Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Entering into the hotel, you are given a glimpse of what this once magnificent hotel would have looked like in its prime. Unfortunately, at the news of the supernatural, hotel guests stopped booking and soon the hotel fell into disrepair. Our guide leads us into a small book room where our journey to another dimension begins.
Vous ouvrez cette porte avec la clé de l'imagination. Quatrième dimension.
After the pre-show, we journey deeper into the boiler room. This room is unbelievably big, and a slow drone sends a chill down your spine before the white knuckle ride that is Twilight Zone's Tower of Terror. Walt Disney Studios is currently in a huge state of construction, with the park's biggest investment coming in the world of Frozen. So it's very difficult to get a feeling of what the personality of this park is when most of it is behind construction walls and hoarding. The park has also recently announced a complete rebrand. Name aside, it's nice that the park is getting some recognition and hopefully more amazing investments will continue to come along the future. There are more moments of magic in this park. Moments like the tranquil Ratatouille Plaza and dining experiences like Chez Remy. Mentioning experiences like Chez Remy, dining at Disneyland is a absolutely huge part of the Disney experience, not breaking the immersion for 1 second. Another huge part of the Disney experience is based on nostalgia. We spoke about earlier, meeting the characters of your childhood be one of the most powerful and long-lasting memories out there. It's funny, even now being adults, you see Mickey Mouse or Captain Hook, there is not a second's doubt that they are not the real deal. Now imagine how powerful that would be for a child, seeing Anna and Elsa, Woody or Buzz in real life. I know that Disney's intellectual properties aren't for everyone, and this is one of the main reasons I actually wanted to make this video. You see, for the creation of Disneyland Resort Paris, the team started with a completely flat piece of land. Now for a theme park like Efteling in the Netherlands, the park started life as a national reserve, being an abundance of natural beauty, much like the bluebells behind me. That wasn't the case for Disneyland Paris. You see, every single rock, every blade of grass, every lamp, every cobbled road was lovingly crafted and meticulously detailed, and I'm sure that you don't need to be a fan of Disney films to appreciate this artistry. Walking around the parks, there really is, without trying to sound cliche, a feeling of magic in the air, and there is no more awesome time for Disneyland Paris to show off its awesome beauty than at night. As the sun goes down, the park bursts to life in a beautiful kaleidoscope of light. In a modern world, I feel it's easy to take technological improvements for granted. I think about how amazing it must have been to watch the first colour film in a world of black and white TV, or go into the cinema for the first time to watch Star Wars or Jurassic Park, witnessing something truly groundbreaking altogether. It truly must have been electric. But as time moves on, I feel we get easily more accustomed to new things, making it even harder for us to be truly wowed. That, however, was until the time struck around 7:50 on our first Disney day, as thousands of tiny little drones took to the sky in a symphony of lights, sound, and for the first time ever, pyrotechnic effects. It was time for the Disney Electrical Sky Parade, followed by Disney Dreams.
Electrical Sky Parade.
That was unbelievable. Toy Story. Toy Story.
C'est la fête, service garanti impec. Mettez votre petite bavette, chérie, et nous, on veille au reste. Plat du jour et hors d'œuvre, ici on sert à toute heure. Cuisine au beurre, c'est la meilleure. Et croyez-moi, je suis connaisseur. Tout le monde chante, tout le monde danse. Oui, mademoiselle, ça, c'est la France. Un bon dîner, ça vaut mieux qu'un coup de trompette. Prenez donc le menu, et quand vous l'aurez lu, on fera la fête, ce sera chouette, Malinette.
title of this video was Has Disney Lost Its Magic? And well, Disney as a company, I would say yeah, they've totally lost their magic. There's really nothing magical about a company trying to make as much money as possible. But as a place, as somewhere that we can escape to, as somewhere that continues to draw the best artists, the best storytellers, well, there's no other way of really describing that as something truly magical. And as someone who has only been to Disneyland a handful of times, that magic has definitely not worn off of me. You know, and I totally get the frustrations at the Walt Disney Company for the lack of investment at Disneyland Paris, but then also think of this. What other theme parks can you name that without a new attraction in the last 20 years can still be this enjoyable and still be this vibrant, especially for new guests? Walking through those arcades, everything feels and looks so authentic, probably because it is. There is no doubt that Disneyland Paris is a truly spectacular park and stands as a living showcase at the creative prowess that the Disney Imagineers have. Anyway, if you've made it this far, I would love to say thank you for watching. If you like these kind of videos, then please check out this theme park in the Netherlands called Efteling. It is honestly one of the most amazing places I have ever visited, and if you're a fan of great theming and even better storytelling, then you are absolutely going to love it. Anyways, until next time, bye.